the News Channel 5 network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine on this Thursday. A good show on tap for you. I invite you to join in the conversation. We're going to follow up yesterday, as we said. We're going to try to hit as many different angles, and really there's two main ones with regard to the situation involving Dreamers and the whole plan to rescind the program, and now what happens next. Folks very disappointed in it, others very supportive of the president's move to do this. The future right now on how things stand, I was kind of looking online about, whether or not Congress is going to be able to come up with something else to legalize DACA, which is deferred action for child arrivals. We're going to get into all of that, but yesterday we had some individuals on who were disappointed in the president's plan, and as we said, we want to be fair, and so we were also going to have someone on the other side of the coin, and that is Republican strategist Steve Gill. Good morning to you, sir.
Good to be back with you.
I was just thinking, man, how long you and I go back? I know you used to come on this program when Larry Britton was here with me, right?
Yeah.
I remember when you ran for public office. We go back a ways. And you know
We've done the Jack Daniels Barbecue Festival, which I'm not included in this year.
No. But you looked exactly the same. You've hardly aged. I'm just saying.
Bless your heart.
You played basketball, right?
Yeah, Tennessee.
At UT.
Yeah. Usually this position.
I know. But you were on some really good. I don't want to get too far astray, but I was just having a flashback with Steve, and it's fun because I've known him for years. I like him, and
Bernard King, Ernie Grunfeld.
Well, no wonder you were on the bench. That was one of the greatest teams in UT history, and you got to know these guys, and you played with them, right?
We won the Southeastern Conference.
Did you ever have to cover Bernard at practice?
Oh, all the time. My first, as a freshman, one of the first things. I mean, these guys are superstars when you come in.
Oh, yeah.
And as a freshman, one of the first practices, Ernie Grunfeld's out in the corner on the wing. I go out to cover him, put my hand up to play defense, and stick my finger right in his eye. I'm going, I haven't been here 30 seconds. I've already injured the star. I'm so dead.
Who's the coach? Who's the
Ray Mears.
Ray Mears. Okay. Legend. Well, I just remember Bernard King. I mean, my gosh.
Incredible.
I still remember him in the NBA with the Knicks in the playoffs, just watching when his fingers were all taped up and he was scoring.
Blew his knee out a couple of times. They had about a 4 or 5 game stretch of making 50-point totals per game. Michael Jordan summed Bernard King up at that point best. Right. Michael Jordan, who's a pretty decent player, said there's only one way to stop Bernard King when he goes up for a shot. You bump him in the chest, hit him in the face, and hope he misses.
And that's from Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well,
I'll say one quick UT basketball story, because we're about to head into season.
Okay.
We're doing a scrimmage. You ask about Bernard King, and we're doing a scrimmage. We're doing the free throw shot. I'm inside on the lane. Shot goes up. I step in, box out Bernard perfectly. Ball bounces off the back of the rim and up. He jumps up behind me, grabs it at the peak, throws it in, dunks it from about 4 feet outside the back, and lands behind me. And I'm sitting there going,
and he doesn't touch you.
No. And I'm sitting there going, okay, how could I have conceivably done that any better? And I look up, and Coach Stu Aberdeen was the assistant coach, and I look up, and he's under the basket with his arms crossed, and he just looks at me and goes,
what are you going to do about it?
Well, I'm not going to yell at you.
What was his vertical leap? It must have been, and he was, how tall was he? 6'6"?
He was 6'7".
6'7", and he must have had a 40-inch leap.
The key was the quickness of his leap. Quick. I mean, he would go up and shoot in one felled swoop, so it was unstoppable.
Yeah,
I mean, I always said at the time that if you were down by a point with 30 seconds to go, you'd want to get the ball to Ernie because he would figure out how to do something.
Yeah.
If you were down by 3 with a second to go, you get it to Bernard because somehow
he'll find a way to get it done.
Make it happen.
Amazing story. All right, listen, let's get to the subject at hand. We'll open up the phone line, 737-7587. But your take, okay, I guess, did it surprise you at all? You pretty much expected. The president had talked about this during the campaign, and then he came about now, and I think he kind of agreed. We're going to give 6 months to Congress, but what did you think? What's your thoughts on him rescinding DACA?
Well, it's not a surprise. I mean, the president campaigned on rescinding DACA. He's been signaling it for 6 months, but he's also been making it clear for the last several months, and certainly the last several weeks, that he wants to find a way to preserve the ability of these DACA recipients to have a place here, again, even if it's not amnesty, if it's not citizenship, to remain in the ability to seek that down the road. But he wants that in exchange for a wall securing our border, which supposedly everybody agrees on, putting in E-Verify, electronic verification, so if you show up to work somewhere, it's illegal to work in this country if you're not here legally, but we're not checking. So employers don't have an electronic verification system. Let's put in a system where we can ensure that people are not working in this country illegally. Everybody should agree to that. And we ought to put and look at limits on legal immigration. How many people do we need coming into this country that are not really qualified to help us to do anything good for America, who may be coming in that are a drag on the taxpayers and a drag on our culture? So when you look at those things, and the president's saying, yeah, you know, we'll do something with DACA if we get it's a total package, and you've got Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and the Democrats hysterically screaming, no, it's amnesty or nothing. And I think the president said, fine, y'all go work it out and see what you can do.
And that's what he did. Now, because he's been, you're right, in recent weeks, he's said, I love the Dreamers. Right? I mean, he said that several times, and then he goes ahead and does this. If you're a dreamer right now, it's got to be pretty uncomfortable, okay? And I feel sorry for, you know, some of these folks that, you know, that's the one argument I have. If you wanted to get mad at the situation, and a lot of people have issues with illegal immigrants, I just envision these kids. It wasn't their choice to come here. I'm just saying, but
these kids are 22.
I know they're older now, but they were brought here by. Get mad at their parents because they're the ones that snuck in and brought them. They had no choice. They're here, and now they're trying to integrate and make a life for themselves. And now they are looking. I mean, you know, I understand their parents, but with them, when they were brought here, they were innocent.
But
you know?
Nick, that's a great point. Okay, their parents clearly chose to come here illegally, break our laws to come here illegally, work here illegally, use identity fraud to cover up their illegal activities. Why aren't we deporting them?
Yeah,
I mean, you may make an argument.
That's a separate issue.
For
yeah,
the kids. Well, then fine. Are you willing to get your dreamer permit and send your parents home? Because there is no excuse, there is no argument that can be made that we ought to show some sort of this same sort of heartfelt compassion that people have for these, quote, kids when their parents knowingly, intentionally did this. I mean, if I break into your house, that doesn't mean that because I've got kids, I get to stay and they get to stay, and you got to pay for their college and you got to pay for our health care and you got to give us money. Breaking into your house, I ought to be punished for that. And even if you want to justify the children that didn't have a choice in it, they certainly had a choice after they turned 18, and they've continued to live, many of them to age 32 in this country. But
it's really all they've known. I mean, that's for the kids. Anyway,
some of them came at 17.
Okay, well, so again, some closer and some younger. But all right, so now the president more or less has said, okay,
again, blame the parents if that's
well, that's what I was saying. I mean, and you can separate the two for some, I think. He said 6 months for Congress. Now, there are some who are saying, though, kind of like what you were just touching on, he's not looking for Congress to pass a law just for the Dreamers. He's looking for Congress to do immigration reform bill, something like that. And so the question is, do you think if they just do something with DACA, he may not sign it? You think he's going to say, look, okay, you can address DACA, but I want that as part of a larger package addressing the immigration issue?
I think he's making it clear it ought to be part of a bigger. It doesn't do any good. We tried this before. We've tried this several times, where you deal with giving those who've come here illegally a break and promise, well, we're going to build a wall, we're going to increase the border security, we're going to deal with the broader immigration issue and deal with the illegal immigration after. Well, I think you're hearing in the American people, and certainly you saw it during the campaign, we're not going to buy into the promises later for something now. We got to do it all together. And if you want relief for the Dreamers, you're going to have to do the stuff that's been promised time and time again. Keep in mind, Congress has voted repeatedly to do a wall. They just never fund it. They never actually get it done because they just want to look like they're doing something rather than actually do something. I think the American people are frustrated and fed up that Washington keeps making promises they don't deliver.
Now, the wall's part of the package, you're right. But, you know, there are a lot of people in the Republican Party, and many of, what's the panel he has of religious leaders, evangelicals? I mean, evangelicals almost across the board are not happy with rescinding DACA.
Well, that's not exactly the case. Keep in mind who you've got.
Well, I'm talking about on his panel, the board that goes in and talks to him. The leader of some of them have come out already. The ones he's talked to, I don't know if they're representative of most evangelicals, but the ones on that religious panel he deals with there, and many of his Republican colleagues are, you know, concerned. I bring that up about what chance is there of them passing comprehensive when they've had trouble passing anything up to this point anyway.
Well, and that's why we have DACA that President Obama put in unconstitutionally, which the courts have already started to deal with. He couldn't get Congress when he had Democratic control to do it, so he did it by executive order as a temporary relief. Congress still hasn't acted to do anything,
it's tough,
and it's going to be hard for them to do it.
You don't think they will? Do you think they can?
Well, I think it puts them in a very difficult political position. On the Democratic side, you've got Democrats who've made the calculation, we want amnesty or nothing. We're not going to deal on the wall. We're not going to deal with border security. We're not going to deal with dealing with the rule of law. We want amnesty because that that appeals to their narrow liberal base. The Republicans also have a base that's saying, you promised us to build a wall, you've promised to deal with border security, you've promised e-verify and these other provisions, deliver or we're going to be mad. And the 6-month hits right when you're starting to see primaries across the country.
See, this is going to be an issue for the campaign.
Hits October 2nd, just as you're heading into the general. So politically, as long as you have both sides playing to their base and nobody's saying, look, a reasonable deal here would be to do the wall, do e-verify, and deal with the dreamers. That ought to be a package that everybody should agree with if, as people have said, we don't want to promote illegal immigration. If the rule of law matters, which even Democrats have said, they're just not willing to do anything about it.
Take a break on that note. Hey, we've got several calls coming in. Questions, comments, probably, Steve, on this issue. A lot of people talking about it. You know that. So we'll take a break. We'll be back. If you're on hold, stay there. We got some lines open, 737-7587. No questions about whether or not Steve was able to score offensively during scrimmage on Bernard King, okay? We're done with basketball.
I'm a scoring machine.
We'll take a break and be back right after this.